Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Coding Improv, the show where the code is made up and the points don't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to get some suggestions from Twitch chat. So this is not enabled yet, but once I click enable, the first 5 people to suggest something will get their suggestions in, and I will use those suggestions to build something. Based on those things. And that's up to my interpretation as to what those things are, or like what I build based on those things. Okay, and whatever you suggest should be just something general. It shouldn't be a technology or framework. You shouldn't say Vue or React or Mongo or anything like that. You can say banana, or you could say painting or anything like that. And I'm going to use those to build the app. I think that about covers it. Is everyone ready? Can I get a smile in the chat if you're ready? Nice, okay. All right, get your suggestions. Get this box open because the suggestions are going to go really quick. It's only the first 5. Only the first 5. Are you ready? Are you ready? Go! 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's only 4. Maybe it's only 4. It's out of stock. Okay, that's it. That's all. We've done it. Congrats to Mike Broody, who has suggested Happy. Sound of Gaming suggested Big Toe. Nikki Poo suggested Music. And Skyerspur suggested Kittens. These are great suggestions. I'm very happy with these. Yeah, great job, Nikki Poo. Yeah. These are good. So let's do it. Let's build an app. And I think I'm gonna try to limit this one to roughly an hour, just so that it is more likely to be YouTube content. Well, let's go. What language are we building these? Mainly web development languages, so like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We may or may not use a front-end framework. We'll see. So these are the suggestions that we got. I can close that one. That can go away. And let's take 5 minutes to look at these suggestions and figure out some theme around what we can build. So 4.5 minutes. Here we go. So we've got Happy, Big Toe, Music, Kittens. Now, Kittens reminds me of Place Kitten, which is an image placeholder service, which is pretty funny. Basically, you can construct a URL like this. So placekitten.com / the width and the height of the image that you want. But if you change the width and the height, you'll like get a different image. So if you do like 300 by 300, you'll get a new kitten image. So that's a possibility. We could do something with that. The other thing is we could like search the Jiffy API for kitten GIFs and do something with them. Like these. I don't know what we do with them, but GIFs are always fun. That is, yeah, so Nikki Poo is mentioning http.cat, which is a service that has memes, kitten memes or cat memes for all the different HTTP status codes. So like if you look at 408, I am a teapot. Oh, no, not 408. What's I'm a teapot? Oh, 418. I was 10 off. But the 418 status code is I'm a teapot. Yeah. Okay, so those are some possibilities. We could like use those. All right. Now with music, what are we going to do with music? I'm hesitant to I'm hesitant to play music because like general music because of DMCA copyright. But what if okay, so what if we made a kitten piano? So what if all of the keys on the keyboard is a different meow, but like in a different key? Meow 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 meow. And then we could use the web MIDI API to use an actual MIDI keyboard to control it. I think that's it. We could also do something really silly where like the keys on the keyboard are like toes on a foot. Though I guess that's potentially against terms of service. We could do kitten paws. The big toe on the kitten paws. That's what we're going to build. That's it. Okay, this is the idea. A Kitten sound musical keyboard. That's what we're building. And just to run it down, so we essentially, first of all, we need to collect a kitten sound, and then, or a series of kitten sounds. I guess technically, well, showing real feet on Twitch is not allowed. At least it didn't used to be. But regardless, I could probably show a picture of a foot. I don't know. Somebody might have done this before, where they've taken a sound and like pitched it to different levels. But if they haven't done that, we could potentially do that. We could get a specific kitten sound, and I can load it into a audio workstation and pitch it to different pitches. I guess we might be able to use the web audio API for that as well. I just don't know if you can take a sound and then play it at a specific frequency. Yeah, so that's what, yeah, Doc is saying we can do that. Okay, so collect a kitten sound. I mean, if we get multiple kitten sounds, it'll have some variety, and then if we're passing that through the web audio API, then we can play that audio at a specific pitch. Like, okay, I'll check out Tone.js. So we're going to collect some sounds. We will play a kitten sound in the key of A, just to make sure that we can do it, and then also in the key of G, just to make sure that we can do it. And then display a keyboard on screen. Click the keys to play that specific tone. And that's it. That's what we're going to build. Okay. Are we out of time? Yeah, wait. Right on time. Let's build this thing. So, first of all, Doc recommended, was it Tone.js? We'll figure out the toes eventually. Let's see what we can do with this. Sampler from Tone.js will save me a lot of work. Okay, so we can create a synth. We can play the middle C, an eighth note with the middle C. That's pretty cool. Like, this is how we can make music with JavaScript. That will just play a C with an eighth note. So that's cool. Yeah, so we can have instruments, samplers. Okay. So sound generation is not limited to synthesized sounds. You can also load a sample and play it back. This is basically what we want, because we're going to have a kitten sound, and then we can play it back. Multiple samples can be combined into an instrument. Wow, they're making this really easy. So if you have audio files organized by note, we'll pitch the shift samples to fill in the gaps between notes. So for example, if you only have the third note on a piano sample, you could turn that into a full piano sample. Wow. So, I mean, I think if we just pass in one note, this should work. Okay. But let's see what Doc is mentioning with the sampler example. Oh, this is so easy. Why is this so easy? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's install this library and get it going. So npm install tone, and then just use it. This is the point where we decide: are we going to just use vanilla JavaScript? Should we try doing it with React or Vue? It's always easier if we just do it with vanilla. But we're going to vote. We're going to do a poll so that you, the viewer, can feel like you have a say in this. What to use? Vanilla JS. So, like, no extra stuff. Or React. Or Vue. Those are your options. You have 1 minute to vote. Vote now. Svelte is easier than vanilla? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of there's concepts in Svelte. I wouldn't say it's easier. Cool. This is going to be fun. I think we've got this. We could definitely do this in under an hour. I say that. Cool. I think I've swayed people to vote for vanilla. So, but React is only behind by 2 votes. No, I'm specifically gonna set I'll set like a 50-minute timer because we've already like wasted time, and I will get this done in 50 minutes. React pulled through. Okay. So, can we build it in an hour? I don't know, but we'll try. Let's make a React app. So I'm gonna do npx create React app. We're gonna just call it app because it's already in the episode 11 directory. Yep. React has 1. Wait. There was only 1 vote between them. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, you built a DAW? Nice. Let's check it out. Vanilla.js DAW. Let's make a beat. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Start. I'm stopping it, but it's not stopping. Here, I want to... this... Artist in the making. Okay. I don't know. Boom. Okay. This is just... Oh. Can I move it up? Is it drag drop? How do I remove notes? Boom, 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 boom. That was probably really loud. Sorry about that. But this is cool job, Mania. Great job. All right, we're wasting time. I'm gonna set a timer for 47 minutes. We're gonna see if we can get this done in 47 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. That was really loud. All right. So we have ourselves a React app right here. Let's just clean things up. We're gonna remove all the extra stuff. So I'm gonna remove the extra CSS. I'm going to remove that test file. We're going to remove the logo. We're going to remove report web vitals. We're going to remove... Basically, we want a super basic thing. So we don't want this anymore. We don't want that anymore. And that should be fine. And then our app, also very simple. It just is a div with an h1. That says meow, meow. Cool. So this is our React app. It just says meow, and we'll start it up. We need to go into that app folder, and then we can start it up. Or not. We need to disable the linter check because I have a globally installed ESLint. So in the package JSON for the start script, we need that, and then eventually for the build script as well. All right. Do your best, React. I do not have a cat. No, I'm actually allergic to cats. Cool. Meow. It says meow. All right. What do we need to do next? We need to find a kitten sound. So let's do that. There's like a free sounds website that we usually use, freesound.org. Actually, I mean, I pretty much, I kind of want a kitten meow in the key of C because that'll be our base, and then everything would be based off of that. Kitten sound in the key of C. This middle C kitten meow. Okay, that's what I need to search for. Middle C kitten meow. Heck has a degree in music, so How to speak cat. Well, I mean, I feel like that would be better. Okay, so kitten. Yeah, if I can't find one, I can use my DAW. Kitten sound in the key of C. Kitten on the keys. Kitten meowing sounds? Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to just do it myself. Okay. In that case, we just need a kitten sound. Yeah, we're gonna have to pitch it ourselves. Meow. That's actually very musical. I like that one. Those are good too. And I guess what we could actually, if I can figure out how to pitch the note, we can take different samples and then make them different notes, so that way there's some variation, I guess. I'm just gonna keep it simple. We'll go with 1. Yeah, I like this one. All right. I want to download it, but I don't want to log in. My dog is very interested in these sounds. What are we gonna do here? All right. Can we find it? WAV. MP3. Oh, is that? I don't think that's not the one I want. I want a filter. WAV. MP3. Media. Well, welcome OMG squared. I too have no idea what's going on. There it is. Okay. All right, give me a second. I gotta get my DAW set up, and then we're gonna try to pitch this thing. I've never actually done this, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah, so the project is we're gonna build a web keyboard, but the sounds are going to be kitten meows. So it's be like meow, 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 but it's gonna be pitched in the right way. Meow. I use Ableton Live, because I know it the best. I used Fruity Loops a long time ago, but these days I just use Ableton. Oh, change the URL. I didn't even notice that. High quality. Yeah, it doesn't sound much different, but that's fine. Okay. I'm gonna. I'm using that sound from Free Sound, so I'm going to reference it. So I'm going to give it a credit in my README. Okay. Here we are in Ableton Live. I mean, I could just drop a quick beat. Let's do that. While we're here, let's grab. Oh, wait. No. Okay, great. Let's find a drum kit. Oh, and I need to set up my audio. The output is built-in output. That should be fine. I'm going to create a new MIDI track. pitch correct the kitten so it sounds like T-Pain. And then on this MIDI track, we need a drum instrument. Let's find a good one. Breakbeats, drums. Should be fine. So we're gonna now make a drum beat with that, and then we have this thingy where we can say on the first beat I want a bass drum, on the second beat I want a snare drum, on the third beat a bass drum, and then on the fourth beat, I don't know, I'm not saying the right words, but check it out. We got a drum. That's fine. Okay. And then let's make a nice synthy sound. Go right there. And then we're going to just give it a C. And now, oh, it needs to be a higher C. So we're going to raise the octave. C2, C4. Actually don't like that drum either. Let's find a better one. That's the beat that I want. Boom, boom, snare. Something like this? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. We need more spaces. I should probably stop wasting time. Here it is. This is the one. And then the bass goes. Is it there? Here it is. Let's find a different pad. I don't even know why I did that. What I want to do is I want to take this. That's the song that I wrote, everybody. Okay. Actually, no, I don't want to open that in code. I want to get that audio file and then drop it. Drop it into this Didio audio workstation, and then we can do something with it from there. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here. If we stop these, it should just go meow. And we can actually make it, can we make it loop? I don't know if we can. Yeah, if we warp it and then loop it. Now, what do I do? I don't know what to do now. Okay, it's probably this stream is probably going to get really annoying with that meow. But okay, Ableton, pitch correct sound. Yeah, pitch correction, changing the pitch. How do you do pitch correct? Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know how they would do this in Ableton? Because basically, we want to take that kitten meow and we want to make it a middle C. No clue. Okay, we'll figure it out. We have 30 minutes left. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Ableton. Yeah, I think that's really what I want. Pitch correct sound. No auto-tune needed. Pitch shift? Yeah, so there is a pitch shift. Is it an audio effect? Like if we throw pitch onto here. Oh, that's why there's reverb on it. I have a bunch of other effects on the meow sound. Melodyne? I don't have Melodyne. Does it cost money? Where do I find pitch shift? Is it under audio effects? This is Ableton 10, by the way. It's an older one. Pitch and transposition. Okay. Do. Okay, so it's on the sample itself. I don't need an extra thing. So if I look on the sample, yeah, there's a transpose right here. Okay, so what I need, there's probably a better way to do this, but I'm actually just going to play a middle C on a piano and then try to match the, so and then match the reference. So I'm just going to add in a grand piano here. Grand piano. Okay. And then what's middle C? Is that C1, C4? Your cat is like, what the heck is going on? All right, we're going to go up to C4. I guess that's pretty high, huh? Oh, you're totally right. Yeah, we should use the tuner because the tuner will tell us what note it is. You all are some thinkers. Okay. Now under audio effects, I think we can just drop a tuner on here. We can see. Yeah, we'll just loop it. The only thing is I can't see both. I don't know how to see both at the same time. These are two separate things. It's like C sharp. You're right, it's not like a... That's an A? There's got to be a better way to do this. Like if I just pitch like this section right here. Is this React? No, this is Ableton. This has nothing to do with coding. We're just trying to that's better. So that's an F. C sharp, and then one more cent. That's a slightly sharp C. I think that I think that's as close as we're gonna get. It's not gonna be the greatest, but there should be a way to just export this now. As I can do this, we'll go into this view. File, export audio video. We've done it. Oh, no, that wasn't it. This one. I don't know how to export it as just the clip itself. I'm tempted to open this in Audacity and just trim it down. Cool. There's probably a better way to do this, but I exported the smallest possible clip from Ableton, but you can see that there's all this extra silence. So I'm just bringing this into Audacity and I'm going to remove it. I'm also going to remove the silence from the beginning, so it just goes immediately into it. Cool. Export. We'll do it as an MP3. Here. Beautiful. All right, everyone. This is it. We've done it. I guess I'll leave Ableton open in case we need to do something something else. But ideally, this is all we need, and then we can just go from there. So now let's actually write some code. So what we need is this Tone.js thing. So we're going to install it. And then what we'll be able to do is we'll create an instrument where we'll set C4 to be that sound, and then we can trigger any note with that instrument. So here we go. And I'm going to put the meow c.wave in the public directory. No, the MP3 one in the public directory. Because we'll need to load it in. Okay. Now, let's import that meow sound. Well, we'll import tone to get things up and going. So now we have the tone library, and then we should be able to do something like this. Right now I'm just doing this in this file just to see if it'll work. So this should be meow c.mp3, and we'll set this to C4. And then this is going to play CEG B. Oh, and then base URL is just /. This is JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript in React. Down here is JSX stuff, but right now this is just JavaScript. Let's see if anything happens. Is this started up? It is started up. Something happened. What if we set this to be like a high C? Trigger attack release. It's doing a thing. So like, how do I play a specific sound? Ah, this is it. This is how we'll do it. This is what I want. This is closer. Yeah, I don't have redemptions showing up on screen right now. So this should be CEG. Let's see. All right. It's really high pitched. That's it. We've done it. CEG. We could do Mary Had a Little Lamb. B-A-B-A-G-G-G. Okay, so B... A, B... A... B, A, B... A, G... G, 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 and instead of an eighth note, it'll be a full note. All right, Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's not it. Good enough. Honestly, good enough. It's not perfect, and it's not like completely in key, but we can make a piano out of this. So we have 20 minutes left. I think we can do it. We can play the kitten sound in multiple different keys. Now we actually need to display a keyboard on the screen that people can click on. We can maybe add effects later on, but let's make a piano with CSS. That's a fun little challenge. What does a piano look like? I want piano keys. Like this is what a piano looks like. Yeah, we could use a CSS grid. So we just want a bunch of white thingies. So we'll have a div. We'll give this a class. And actually, this is a if I go G3. Oh yeah, no, so it's B-A-G-A, like that. Is it a G? I don't know. But for now, we're going to comment that out. So that way we can build a keyboard. But what I was excited about is CSS modules, which I never really used. And now it's supported out of the box in React. So I can create a module.css. And then in here, let's say I have a class called keyboard. with just like a border, 2 pixels, solid black, width 100%, height 100%. And then in my main CSS, I'll make the body full. So width 100 view width. Height is 100 view height. E, D, C, D, E, E, E. Okay, well, I'm not going to... I know at least it's making sounds. And then there's no overflow. It's hidden. And then the app element itself will have a width of 100% and a height of 100%. So that takes up the full body. And then this is just going to have a class of keyboard. Like that. But so since I made this a CSS module, I can actually import it. So I can say import styles from appmodule.css. And what's cool about this is now I can reference individual classes. So right here, I can say class name equals styles.keyboard, and that should apply that class to it. So, I messed up the styles. This needs to be ID root, not app. Root. So root is there, keyboard is there, and you can see that it now has this generated class name, app keyboard 8m1 or whatever. But that is the class that it generates for the CSS module. And what's nice about this is this is no longer like global CSS. So even though I'm importing the CSS into the React component right here, only this style is used and imported, and it wouldn't affect any other styles in my app. Just to really show that it's working, we'll do like 40 pixels solid black. Yeah, like that. See, it's working. All right. Why is that like that? I'm also going to do all elements have a box sizing of border box. And I'm going to remove the margin, the automatic margin from all elements. There we go. Beautiful. We have ourselves a thing. Now we want some keys. I'm actually just going to do an outline here. 10 pixels solid black. Now we'll have a class for a key, which will have a width of 20 view width and a height of 100%. And then we'll just have a bunch of keys. So right in here, div class name equals styles.key. And then we'll just have a bunch of these. Oh, and then I'm going to make the keyboard. So I could make the keyboard look like this. I could. I'm gonna make it simple on myself, and we're just gonna have keys that you can press, and then eventually we'll do other things. But I'm actually just gonna make the keyboard. I'm gonna make it actually. If I make it a grid, then these things will have automatic width. So I actually won't need to set the width on the key. So I can get rid of this. But on the keyboard, if I say display grid, and then grid template columns will be repeat. 1 fraction 10 times, like that would say there's 10 keys. That did rows. Did I do this wrong? If there are 10 columns, then it should be 10 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We need 7 technically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can anybody tell me why my grid is sideways? I guess I could use the debugging things. So this is a grid. Oh, like, because this is wrong. That's why this is wrong. I think I have it reversed. It's 10 FR. 10 1 fraction. There we go. But we don't want 10, we want 7. So it's even. We'll get there. 7 of them. Look, it's a keyboard. Okay. It should be fine. Let's just make it so that when we press each one, we get a specific key. So, in our app, this is going to be the A key. So we should do something like on click. We'll have our own custom function that's like play note A. B. It's not going to be a visually accurate keyboard just yet. We'll get there though. C. D. Actually, it should start at C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Yeah. So yeah, well, you'll see I'm going to create a function that returns a function. So play note needs to be a function, right? So play note is a function that takes in the specific note that we want to play, but that itself needs to return a click handler that we do something inside of. And then what I need to do, I mean, it's basically going to be something like this. But the specific note is here. And we'll just throw in 4 here. Like that. Cool, but we actually need this sampler to exist within the context of React, because we actually won't know if sampler is available. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a state variable for my, we'll say like sampler loaded and set sampler loaded. And this is initially false. We need to bring in use state from React. And then we also need a use effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that code that was just running whenever the script loaded before, and now it's going to be, it's only going to run once when the app loads. So we do this here, and then on load, I'm going to say, actually, I don't really even need that. I could just have a state variable for my sampler. And then only play the sound if sampler is not null. So sampler starts off as null, and then when the sampler has loaded, we can do set sampler with, I guess we'll call this the sampler instance, like this. So load it, and then when it's loaded, put it on state, and then in here we can say if sampler is not null, then play the sound. All right, here we go. Okay, we did it. Very little lamp. Okay, this is fine. I think I'll put the letter, the name of the key, in the specific div. Bravo! Oh, thank you. So, and then we'll put it at the bottom of the key. F, G. Yeah, we're basically done. I mean, obviously, there's a ton more cool stuff we could do, but H. H is not a key. Okay, so that is just going to put the letters like up at the top left. We don't want that. So for the key, we're going to make the key a flexbox. And we'll justify the content center, and we'll align items flex end. And we'll also have a font size of like 2 rems. Look at that. So cool. Let's increase the user experience. So whenever we're hovering, we should actually show a like a clicker, a pointer icon. So right here, I can do cursor pointer. And now when they hover, you can see that, oh yes, I can click on this thing. The other thing is we should have like an active state. So when the key is pressed down, so we'll do like key hover. When the key is pressed down, we can set the background color to like a darkish color like this. Actually, we don't want hover, we want active. So active means the mouse is down. So now... All right. Now, like technically, we could create the black keys, which are like the sharps and the flats. Do I want to do that? I don't think I want to do that. What other songs can I play with just these? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, user select none. So you can see right now if I like hover and drag, or if I click and drag, it's selecting the text. We don't want that. So what we want on the key is user select none, and that'll prevent the text selection. So we did Mary Had a Little Lamb. What's another song that I know? What are like simple songs? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That one's harder. Yeah, I think I'll add play using the keyboard. And you can use ASDFGH. And that's it. Yeah, so Hot Cross Buns, that's similar to another song, isn't it? Da 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 da. Regardless, let's make it so that we can press the keys on the keyboard to play the sound, so that way we don't have to click them. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a map of keyboard keys to note. So what specific note that should play. It's just going to be an object. And so when you press the A key, that should play the C4. Basically all this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Cool. So this will be A, S, D, F, G, H, J. Cool. So when you press that specific key, it's going to play that specific note. And then we need to set up the click handler there. We'll also do this in the like mount. So when the component mounts, we're going to add an event listener to the entire document. I guess I don't need to do that. I could do it on the div itself, but actually I do want to do it on the document because I don't want you to have to click on the div to be able to make a sound. So if I add the event listener to the document, key down, get our event. Let's just log the event dot key. Let's see what we get. Change the last two keys to A5, B5. Oh, you're totally right. You are totally right. Yeah. Because it's going up. It's not working for some reason. Code spells. What's up, friend? Thank you for that raid. This is Coding Improv, and we are making a keyboard with kitten sounds. So we found a kitten sound. We pitch adjusted it to be middle C. And now we're using Tone.js to play it in different keys. So it increments after B4. Wait, what? Yeah, this isn't right for some reason. What does this need to be? Wake you up before you go. What's up, the real pack? A4 and B4 was correct. Okay. Okay. Leave it. It's all in 4. I see. And it goes A4, B4, then C5. Yeah, that makes sense. What are we doing? We're gonna see what keys, what's logged to the console here. So if I do A, oh no. Click over here. Yeah. So the key is lowercase. So we'll say if keyboard keys to note dot has own event dot key. Well, we'll make it 2 uppercase. Call it key. Then we want to play the note with keyboard keys to note. At that key and invoke it right now. Okay. Has own doesn't exist yet. So I can do has own property. Here we go. It's object.hasOwn. It's new, right? They just added that. Yeah, you're right. We should remove the event listener, but the component never unmounts. But yeah, we can do that. But I would have to do this. So I could say we'll store this in key down. Is that, and then your use effect here can return a function that should run when the component is disposed. So I can do document.remove event listener for key down, just so we're doing the right thing here. Cool, yeah. And if let's take a quick stretch. But if you haven't seen that before, this is a great little new shorthand that has been added. It's at least exists in Firefox and Chrome. I don't know if it's. I guess it's going to be in the next release of ECMAScript. But this is equivalent to doing if object.prototype.hasOwnProperty.call this. All right, we're out of time. I mean, we're basically done. I'll add a few more things and then we'll be done. But that's the way you used to do it, because this is a safe way of checking, does this object have that property without looking up the prototype chain. And now you can just do that. So that's nice. But press A, D, and G on the same time. All right, we're basically done. It's not it's not the best thing, and the code was actually fairly simple to write. Yeah, I think that's a nice little bonus thing. Is we should get MIDI working. So if I plug in a MIDI keyboard, can I play any note? What are we missing? So we're making music. It's Kittens. I'm pretty happy that we have built this thing, so that satisfies. Now, how can we satisfy Big Toe? Let's do a kitten paw will be the background of each of these. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. We need a paw facing down like this, like that. Oh, we could do a paw cursor. Yeah. That's perfect. Kitten paw icon. I mean, these are all pretty generic. I want like a honestly, I want a disembodied, like a real kitten paw. Not like cut off, but with no cat attached to it. Let's see if we can find a transparent kitten paw. Yes, perfect. Yeah, we'll save that. I'm actually gonna modify it. Wait, where did I not save it to the right place? Oh, I'm in episode 9. I need to be in episode 11. This is going to be the most interesting part of the stream. That we'll put it in public. Kitten paw. Cool. And now I'm just going to crop it. Right about there. There. There's probably a better way to crop it. This is the best way I know to do it. Cool. And then how do I set a image cursor? URL. And then with a fallback. Cool. This will be in the body. Cursor will be kitten paw.png. The max size is 32 by 32. I actually have to put this in the source directory, so I'm going to create a folder called assets. And the reason is whenever Webpack is putting all this stuff together, it's trying to reference that in the CSS. So I need to tell it where to find it. And then we'll remove pointer cursor here. Well, we probably have to resize it because Doc is saying it can will be to 32. We need the pointing coordinates. Yeah, we could do a div that follows the cursor, but I mean, it should... Yeah, you're right. When you're right, you're right. But technically, we should be able to just do this with CSS. But you know what? We won't. All right. Let's not. Because it actually will be pretty easy. We'll just add this div right here. Put in an image inside it. And the source is going to be assets/kitten paw. The alt text, it says paw. We don't even need it to be in a div. It'll just be there, and then we'll give it a class. So we'll say class name equals styles.paw. And then over here, we'll make the keyboard have a not display, position relative. And then the paw will have position absolute. And then we need some state as to where the cursor is on the page. So we'll have a mouse location state. And I'll just have an X and a Y. And then we will also add another event listener here. So we'll have a mouse move event listener. And then we can set the states. So we'll do set mouse location with, so the X is going to be event dot, I think it's like client X. We'll figure it out. Let's see if we can get it first try. So that sets the X and the Y. We then can add the event listener to the document. Mouse move. And then we'll also remove the mouse move event when the component is disposed. Doc is saying we need pointer events none. That probably makes sense because it's following your cursor. And so when you click, you would technically be clicking the image. We don't want that. All right, now we need to use this X and Y location. So we can just bind the style here. So we'll say top is mouse location dot X pixels, and the no, this would be Y, and then left is mouse location dot X pixels. $. Format with prettier. All right, did we get it first try? Nice. I mean, it's technically following, but it didn't load the image for some reason. Yeah, you're right. Minus the width. Yeah, if I want the width of the, if I want the cursor to technically be right in the middle, what's going on here? It can't find that image. And then also, use effect has missing dependency play note. Oh, that's going to change on every render. Well, Yeah, I don't know why that's not loading it. We can import it. We can do it similarly. We can do import paw image from assets kitten paw, and then bind it. Oh, there it is. Nice. let's make it smaller. And we do probably want to center it. Actually, I think we could do that with CSS, couldn't we? If we do a transform. But let's do the width is 10%. Yeah, perfect. And then we should be able to do a CSS transform. Transform. Translate. -50%. -50%. Nice. Cool. Cool. And then on the paw, we'll say cursor is none. Because we don't want the cursor to show up on top of it. I guess we just don't want the cursor on the keyboard either. There we go. There we go. Can we do an extra transformer to reduce size on click? Oh yeah. I like how you think. So we can do well, right now pointer events are none. And so technically it'll never have the active state. Right, so like technically if we did when it's clicked on, we could technically have pointer events and then we'll just add an event listener and we'll propagate the click handler. Actually, this should be fine. And scale 0.8. Transition 300 milliseconds. Oh no. Transition scale 300 milliseconds linear. Is that how that works? If I only want to transition the scale? Nice. Oh, you're right. Transform. But it's going to like technically the moving of, actually we don't even need transition. That's fine. But now what we will do is on do we propagate it? What's the deal here? So we'll say like on click. Event dot propagate. Stop. We don't want to stop propagation. We want the click to go through to the elements below it. Do we just prevent the default action? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Bubbling. Yeah, how do we bubble it? Bubble. We want the event to bubble up. Because right now, the click event is happening on the image and it's not being passed through to the elements below it. Event.bubbles. Document.element from point and raise the click event directly. There's bubble equals true. It can't be an attribute, right? JavaScript bubble click events. Bubbling and capturing. Is it event.bubble? I don't want to capture. I want to bubble. The element is always in the same place, but we're not transforming it. We are moving the top left. I guess bubbling happens automatically, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking about this the wrong way, because... Yeah. Yeah. But I like what Alka mentioned. We could take this, put it above the keyboard, and then we'll style it relative to the document instead of the keyboard itself. So now at root will have position relative. Cool. So now there's a keyboard, and then right next to it is the image. So this is what Alka was talking about. Was there something else I needed to do? Put the paw outside of the piano, then use piano group whatever active paw. I like it. So now we do key active the paw that is a sibling. Like that. All right, then we don't need a click event at all on it. Oh, and then we can add back that what we had before, which was the paw has what was it? Pointer events? None? Okay, so we're on the right track. We just need to find the right selector. It won't work for the key. It needs to be the group of keys. Ah, okay. So, I mean, it technically is just keyboard. We did it. All right. All of that so we could check off this box. Okay, I think that's it. There were some other suggestions for stuff we should do. But this is the app. Was there any like quick things that I could add that would be fun? No, I think this is it. We've done a great job. Yeah, great work, everybody. We made a keyboard out of kitten sounds. Oh, add more octaves? Yeah. Yeah, we could. What's an easy way to do that? I mean, really, we kind of want to set up our notes, and then we could just iterate over them. Sounds like seagulls. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we don't have sharps or flats, do we? You know what? I'm done. I'm done. Let me just publish it. You all can use it locally and all that good stuff. Let's build it. Oh yeah, we said we were gonna add a MIDI controller. Let's see how hard it is. Let's do MIDI. We'll do MIDI. JavaScript MIDI. See how easy it is. You have prepared MIDI code? Is it ready to just drop in? It should be fairly easy. Like, you basically just listen for MIDI devices, and then you get a MIDI event that says what key was pressed, and then you just instantly play that key. It's not the most pretty thing. Let's see what you got, Alka. Show me what you got. All right. Start MIDI. On MIDI success, we get the first MIDI device. Yeah, do we not just get like C1, C2, that kind of thing? Do we have to actually translate it ourselves? Because I really just care if the key was pressed. I'm not doing anything with like, is the key down? These are the notes. Request MIDI access. Get the first input. And then message data. Oh. Yeah, so I'm not doing anything, like I'm not holding out the note for as long as you press the key. I'm just playing the sample. That's it. So you could get a lot more complex with it. So this is mapping a specific MIDI note to the note that needs to be played. MIDI to note. MIDI value to note. Web MIDI, we're just using libraries. I appreciate you doing this, Alka. I guess, had you written this for, was this for Jonathan Ong? Or is that when you were doing like the MIDI stuff? Let's see what you got. Let's see how Web MIDI works. Here we go. Add event listener note on. And then we get the event. Does it tell us what the key is? Connected, disconnected. We have play. We don't want to play. We want to know when a note was listened. Okay, e.note.name. This should do it. All right. Yeah, I'll test out your page in a second with my MIDI keyboard, but I'm going to install this. We're not complete. So, I mean, we kind of are. We have a working app. We have ourselves a little keyboard where when you click on a key, it's a cat meow, and it's in the right, roughly in the right key. So I can play. Oh, I messed up, but you can also play with your keyboard. The cursor is just an image that we're moving where the mouse is, and we have the mouse hidden. How do I install this? Node.js support. Oh, no, not that. Just Web MIDI. Okay. We're gonna install Web MIDI. We'll import it. We're not using TypeScript, so we don't really need the type definitions. And then we can see how do they do it. Quick start. webmidi.enable. And we'll also do this in the event here. Why is, oh, this needs to be above the return. So when the component mounts, we're going to enable webMIDI. And then we'll see what inputs we got. And then on that input, we will add an event listener for, was it key on or note on? We're just going to grab, so if there are any MIDI devices detected, we're going to grab the first one. And then we'll just do this. All right. So when the page loads, there should be no MIDI inputs because I don't have anything plugged into my computer. Yeah, so it's empty. We can't see that. Empty. Now I'm going to go grab my MIDI keyboard and we'll see if it works. Hello. Doc says if it doesn't work, just use Chrome. It should. Let's see. So this is a MIDI keyboard. And when you press a key, it sends a MIDI signal over USB. And the web browser can actually detect MIDI devices. So I'm going to add this here. Ability is asking, why am I using explicit event listeners? It's because I want the listeners on the entire document, not just the root element, which is why I added them manually. I don't know of a way, any other way to do that. Yeah, MIDI inputs is an empty array. Let me close Ableton. I don't know if that is affecting anything. It's still an empty array. I'm going to try Chrome. Give me a second. Oh, well, maybe I'm running an old version of Chrome. Chrome doesn't have object.has own. But Chrome does detect the MIDI devices. It's weird that Firefox doesn't. I don't like it. Yeah, so I'll show you. That's unfortunate, but yes, we do get MIDI inputs here, and we're listening for key on. So if I press a C here, there we go. You can't see it, but it like, look, this is me pressing the keyboard, and it's giving me the actual note. That is amazing. That, like, it's going to be so easy to make it work. So now all we have to do is whenever we get a key press, we get E note name plus octave. So we just do play note with the note. Look at that. We should get instant support. Fresh. Oh, I turned the sound down. Well, my key presses don't actually work in Chrome, but these work. Let's just make sure we actually are getting the note. And then play note. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting the key on event anymore. Yeah, so we're getting the keys, but it's not playing the event. I did see there was an issue where play note is technically needed inside of here, and then it needs the sampler. So I might have to turn this into a memoized thing. Like this. And then play note I get access to there. What else does this need? Well, put this here. Use callback is basically just use memo with extra steps, I guess. I don't know. It should work. No available buffers for note, negative infinity. Oh, because it's going to invoke this. Right? I guess technically it is a use call. Is it? It's a use callback? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it would be use callback because in this case, use memo would attempt to invoke the first one. App.js line 59 is running over and over and over and over again. This piece. What about over here? I think I've done some weird things here. I mean, technically, play note doesn't even need to. It just needs to exist. And Denny, thank you for that Prime sub. I realized there's actually a ton of I needed to do it. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I technically need to do this now. I am so sorry. Yes, that escalated quickly. I'm just keeping you on your toes. Okay, and then where else are we calling play note? we're calling play note, and so now we should just be able to do this play note like that. And then this isn't, yeah, that is dependent on it. Like that. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Okay, that's the winner. Fix yourself. What is this doing? And why does it keep doing... Oh, this is running over and over again. That's why. This is dependent on the sampler. We set the sampler once. I want to do something weird here. This is probably not the best way to do it, but I think I can do something like this. Like set play note. And I do this right here because we have a sampler. And then I don't need to do that anymore. So basically, I'm removing my state variable for the sampler, and then I just have a state variable that is the function that I'm setting here. And then that's not a thing anymore. This is really not the best way to do this. The only reason I'm doing this is because useEffect is only run once. It doesn't run multiple times. Things are getting tricky. But ultimately what happened was because I set a dependency here, this was running over and over and over again, so it just kept calling webmidi.enable. No available buffers for note -infinity. So we're setting play note to be a function that takes in the note and does that. Where else are we calling this? Yeah, so yeah, D and Bull has it. It was looping because of useEffect. So we're setting play note here. We're also setting it on the state, which we don't care about because we're using this instance of it. On key down, we play the note. Let's not do that for now. And on this, we do that. Let's not do that for now. How is play note not a function? Can I not? Can I not have a function in a state variable? Also, why is it calling play note? It shouldn't be. It should only be calling. Oh yeah, because I clicked. State can't be a function? Why not? Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, we don't, okay, it's not a state variable. It's just a local module variable like this. Easy. Cool, yeah, this is it. What? Oh, the sound is just down, that's all. So it actually could have been working earlier, I think. All right, now, time for the MIDI keyboard. Yeah. I don't have enough keys to do this, but... Game over. So it works. So okay, I missed the chat earlier. Somebody mentioned there's something I can install in Firefox that will allow the MIDI keyboard to work. What was that? That's it. MIDI input provider. Move the cursor to the spot. Not for now. All right. I guess we'll add this. It has 37 users. It's probably a virus. Native application download and install instructions. Oh, but now that I have a MIDI keyboard plugged in, well, actually, this isn't going to work in Firefox, is it? Oh, it works now. Oh, no, never mind. It's still playing in Chrome. Oh, I don't know. Why did I install this? Give me a second. I should not have installed this. Yeah, you basically, yeah, you have to install it on your machine and then it like interrupts or something like that. Oh well, it's fine. How do I get to my extensions? There they are. Okay, no MIDI in Firefox for now, but we're going to ship the app. let's get it going. Cool, we're gonna build it. And I think this makes sense, right? I basically, yeah, just play note is not a state variable. It gets set once when the app loads. And this function basically never has to run again because it's all in one app. Yeah. Okay, so we built it. Go into build and deploy it. Kitten keys. Nice. All right, we'll go here. All right, you too can annoy everyone around you with the Kitten keyboard. Yeah, absolutely. Click on it. Torture your pets. Oh, wait. Okay, that was fun. We're gonna go now. Thanks to everyone for hanging out, participating. Thank you to everyone that made the suggestions. This obviously took a lot longer than I said it was going to, but it was still pretty fun. We actually, again, didn't write that much code. We just used some existing libraries, but it was pretty fun. And shouts out to Mike Broody, Sound of Gaming, Nookie Poo, and Sky for their suggestions. All right. Let's go on a raid. Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you are a sub, that's your raid message. If you're not a sub, you can use this raid message. Also, feel free to come up with your own unique raid message. And yeah, I appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out. Next stream is planned for next Friday, as usual. And we'll see you then. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, this is not being streamed on multiple platforms. This is only on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, it's an older stream. Yeah. Unique raid message. Yeah, like I said, I don't know who we're going to raid, but whoever we do raid, show them lots of love. Drop a follow if you like what they're doing. And also, go here and play this keyboard. All right. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this. Hello, everyone. we were just about to go on a raid. Welcome. I could code something for you. Actually, yeah, I don't have to go. Also, I just realized I totally forgot to thank all the people that supported the stream earlier. So I will do that. I'll show you what we built today, and then we'll do something fun with all of our InstaFluff friends. Big shout out to InstaFluff. We mentioned we shouted you out earlier and stuff about the drop game, because we have the drop game here. This is my own custom drop game that I built that is based off of the mechanic of InstaFluff's drop game. I don't know if InstaFluff has this. I do have a thing where if you do !drop me, that will drop your Twitch avatar like that. Yeah, like that. But what were you working on today, InstaFluff? Wrapping up medium leak. Oh yeah, you've been doing LeetCode. Good luck with all the interviews and stuff. Hopefully that's going well. But let me show you what we built today. It's pretty ridiculous. It's a Kitten keyboard. And I totally have already like closed out of my chat application and stuff, but this should be good enough. Wait. Here. So, and actually you can go to kitten-keys.surge.sh. But what we did is we sampled, we found a kitten meowing sample. We then pulled it into my digital audio workstation and we adjusted the pitch to be a middle C. And then we're using Tone.js to take that middle C meow and then just transpose it to the different notes. But if you go to the site, you can also use your keyboard. So it's ASDFGH. And we hooked it up to Web MIDI. So, well, actually, Web MIDI doesn't work in Firefox, but if you open up Chrome and you have a MIDI device plugged in, you can actually play more than... So right now we only have 7 notes on the screen. But with a MIDI keyboard, you can go lower. So, yeah, it was pretty fun to build. Close Chrome. There we go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. I do have an octave switch. I keep closing Chrome. I guess I should probably just leave Chrome open. But I do have an octave switch, so we can go even lower. So, here. Okay, it's ridiculous. But in honor of our raid from InstaFluff, let's do a LeetCode problem. I don't think I've ever done one of these. I think I opened the site once, and it was like a really hard question, so I was just like, nope. I don't feel like thinking about this. Can I sign up with GitHub? Let's see. Let's go. I don't prepare for interviews. I mean, I've had a job for the past 3 years, and then even that job that I got, my interview questions were nothing like LeetCode questions. It was kind of like a mixture of a systems design interview, but then it was also, because I work at a software consultancy, it was a lot of questions about like, how would you handle clients and how would you architect this app and stuff like that. So it was more practical than just like algorithmic problems. But algorithmic problems are fine. I typically use the site Code Wars, which I think like if you are going to have a like computer science heavy interview, LeetCode is definitely going to prepare you for that. But like Code Wars, they have like much simpler problems, and you can like gradually go up and up. And a lot of times these are easier to wrap your mind around than just like very CS theory heavy stuff. Okay, let's pick one. How does this site work? Problems. How do big companies look up data for millions of records instantly? They have some sort of database management system that has been scaled. So they might be using MySQL or Postgres, and those things can be scaled, or there are other types of databases, or even like a graph database. I know Facebook potentially uses like a graph database, and they've scaled it. But yeah, scaling involves sharding, not sharding, which is basically storing your database, the data from your database in different nodes depending on, like, you could basically, let's say you have millions of users and you wanted to separate, you don't want all your users to just be in one sharding, SHARDDING. You don't want all your users just to be in one database. So you basically have like 10 databases, and the first database stores all your users A through C, and then the next database stores all users D through whatever, and then when you're looking up a user, you look up by their name. You wouldn't do that in the real world. Typically, you would shard by like their ID or their region or something like that, but that's a way of scaling. All right, how does this work? I want to do an easy one. Going through the top interview questions collection starting from easy. Is that like a... I'm just going to try one. We're going to try this two-sum, which has a 47% acceptance for whatever reason, and it says it's easy. How do I do it? Is this it? Okay, what's the question? Given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. Is there only one answer? Only, yeah, so it says only one valid answer exists. This is fine, but see, this problem is labeled as easy. I would consider this probably like a 6 or a 5Q Code Wars, which is like middle range rather than like super easy, but we can figure it out. Let's do it. Yeah, you basically can brute force it. So you have, but I mean, if you don't want it to time out, then you probably can't brute force it, because I know LeetCode actually cares. I mean, Code Wars cares about timing out as well. Let's try it. Let's do our best. I mean, the naive approach is to add every number to every other number except for itself, and then if you find a pair, you return it. So let's just do the naive approach. So we could have a for loop. And I think it does make sense to use a for loop here because we could return early. Well, I equals 0 while I is less than nums.length. Nice. Okay. And then on each iteration, we increment I by 1. And then we need to iterate again. And we'll let j equal I plus 1, and we'll increment j, and we'll say if the numbers at I plus numbers at j is equal to target, then we return a tuple, an array with both those numbers, I and j. Like that. And then if we can't find it, is that a possibility? Or are we returning the indices? No, we just want the indices. Yeah. So we just do I and j. Okay. You can return the answer in any order. Can I run it? Pending. What did I do wrong? Runtime error. J is not defined. That makes sense. It's a capital J. All right. It took 107 milliseconds. That's not bad. That's less than the time it takes to blink, right? I don't know. Submit. It might time out in the... Oh, no, it worked. It worked. Yeah. Look at this. I'm faster than 45% of the JavaScript submissions. And I could probably guess why. It's because I'm doing this early return here. So a quick learning moment for you. pretty bad. No, that's fine. That's fine. A quick learning moment for you is nested loops are expensive. Like typically in these algorithmic solutions, you want to avoid nested loops at all costs. In this case, though, the input is small enough that it doesn't really matter. And then basically in optimization we're doing is the moment we find the solution, we stop iterating, right? We're done, we just return. And that both of the for loops are done and we instantly return the result. If we didn't return right here and we like stored it in a variable and then returned it afterwards, we would always have to iterate in squared times, like the length of the array is squared times, in times in. Length times length. So this is like a slight optimization. I don't know. I'm happy with this solution because it sort of kind of makes sense, but there's probably a way to speed it up so that you don't have to compare every other number to, I mean, there's probably a faster way to do it. But I'll call it. I'll call it there. All right, I'm going to go now. Thanks again, InstaFluff, for that raid. And again, go follow InstaFluff if you haven't. Are you going to keep doing LeetCode stuff, or do you have interviews coming up, InstaFluff? Yeah, the extended stream. And we're gonna go do a raid. Here we go. If you're a sub. Oh, the last day of LeetCode. Cool. Well, good luck with your interviews. I'll DM you, but I don't know what kind of job you're interested in, but I know of a place that teaches coding that is hiring. I don't know if you'd be interested in that, but I'll DM you the info. Cool. Great times, everybody. Oh, and thank you, Murdoch, for that gift. Oh yeah, and I forgot. I wanted to thank all of the supports that I forgot to thank earlier. If you're still here, thank you. If you're not, I apologize if I missed you. But Harriet, thank you for that 4-month resub. GoChuni with the prime 3-month prime resub, Photon with the 4-month prime resub, Danif with the 11-month resub, Arb with the sub, InstaFluff with that raid, thank you very much, and Murdoch with that gifted sub. Heck yeah. All right, have a good day, everyone. I'll be streaming next Friday. I don't know what I'm going to be streaming. Maybe like a Q&A session or something like that. But yeah, stay awesome. I don't know who we're going to raid, but whoever we raid, show them lots of love. Drop a follow if you like what they're doing. And wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.